Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a quick video on a SQL challenge. So in case you missed it, on September 16 I posted a question which is a SQL challenge asking what is the longest streak of consecutive blocks mined on Ethereum. And so if you have not had the chance to try out this challenge, feel free to pause this video, try it out, and then to see how I solved it from my point of view. So I'm gonna solve it right now. This is my solution. I'm sure there's different ways you can solve this, but this was the way that I thought about as I was thinking about it. So of course we would use the Ethereum blocks table, and then the field that we would care is the miner field. And I was doing a few things to test this. One is I was trying to find like a small range of blocks where there is consecutive miners. And this is the small block that I found. So maybe let's just run this. Maybe something like maybe something like this. And as I run this, let me explain the thought process here. So again, I'm just taking block number, right, the miner, and then from the blocks table. Now in the blocks table, for every block there will be only one miner. Okay, and so the idea is to find consecutive number of streaks. The miner for a particular block, let's say this particular block, let's say this person over here, the next block it should also be the same miner. And so if it is the same miner, then that counts as a consecutive streak, right? So in this case it would be 2 streaks. In this case there is no streak here because it is a different miner, right? So you can see the first block is 69563, is this miner over here, and then 69564, the next block, it is a different miner. Alright, so then I have 2 columns here, which is the previous miner and the next miner. So this I would use the lag and the lead functions respectively. So lag meaning I'm taking the previous miner for the block prior to this block, and then the next miner would be taking the next value in the miner column in the next block after this block. So that's what these 2 columns are about. And I use these 2 columns to basically to help me to find out the consecutive times. So the next column here is a case when. So let's go through what this does, right? So when miner is the next miner, so when the miner is the next miner, give it a 1. So which means if the next miner is the same as the current miner, then I'll give it a 1. So in this case, let's look at this row, for example. This miner is OXE6A, and the next miner is OXE6A. So I would give it a 1, which means there is a streak here, right? Because to this block in this particular block, this miner is this one, and it's the same miner in the next block as well. And then I have a case where if the miner if the miner is the same as the previous miner, then 1 as well. So think about why I would need this case. So imagine if like in this case, right, this miner OXE6A, the next miner is a different miner already. So because the next miner is a different miner, this would be 0, right? But because it's 2 consecutive blocks, and I want this block to have 1 as well, I need this extra clause where it says the miner is the previous miner, right? The miner is the same as the previous miner. And so the combination of these 2 filters gives me these 2 tags where this is 1, and then this next line is also 1. So that's how I get this tag. And this tag is important so that I can sort of like sum up the consecutive tag, and that should give me the number of streaks based on the minor and based on the group. Alright, so that's that. So we will comment out again. And yeah, basically the results from the first city is this, right? Now the next challenge is then, how do I sum up only this group? So if you see here, there is another consecutive tag. So if we just say like sum consecutive tag, it would sum out everything. And if we sum by minor, it would also sum up blocks where this particular minor mine consecutive, but it's in a different range, right? It's not consecutive. So how do we solve this? And the way I thought about that is I would want to give it a tag. So in this case, yeah, let's just run this, and then I'll explain the code. So in this city again, our goal is to create like I call it a tag, so that I can tag the sections, and with the tag, then I can then group by the section. Okay, so for example, in this case I have, if consecutive tag is 1, and the next minor, and the minor is not the same as the next minor, which means it is the last of its streak. So minor is not the same as the next minor, which means the streak has ended, right? At the end of the streak, I give it a number, and this number is the block number it is associated to. So in this case, this would represent the end of the streak, right? Every end of the streak, where from this particular minor, whenever the streak ends, grab the last block number. And this way, what this does is, now when I sort of like sum, I do a summation, I can then say, okay, these two rows where there's a streak belongs to this group, right? This grouping. And so I can then count the streaks accordingly, and I will not be counting all the streaks from this particular minor in other block ranges. So that's the function of this tag over here. Now, a problem when we use the tag is that we need to also fill in here, right? Because we know we need to group these two rows together because they belong to the same streak, but only this row number 3 has this number tag. So we need to have number tag for 2 as well, which is the next city is called block number tag field. And this time I say, in case when the consecutive tag is 1 and the block number tag is now, which is this, then lead, which is just means grab the next available block number tag. Of course, partition by minor. Yeah, and then if it's not now, which means it's this, use the block number tag as is. And so this CTE would then fill it such that these two rows would have the number tag. Yeah. And yeah, let's see what we get. Looks like I have an example here. So I'm gonna run this. Now it's important not to filter your block numbers in the beginning, because you want all the consecutive counts to your streaks to count to evaluate first, then you filter by block number. Which is why it's taking some time here. Okay, cool. So let's see what we have. So this is sorting by in ascending order of block number. So the minor is this. It looks like it is the same minor for until here, right? And the next row, you see, it is another minor. So in this case, the streak started, or the streak ends here, and the streak is belongs to this particular group, right? This is the block number where it ends, and so the fill, right, this column over here, what this does is it fills up the rest of the group with this number. So now when I say, okay, I want to group by, or I want to sum all these streaks, I can just group by this particular number, and then that sums up the streaks for me. And which is exactly what this is doing. So raw streaks, I am counting the number of streaks. Oh, sorry, I'm just counting the number of rows, and then grouping by the tag and the minor. And so because there'll only be one tag, I actually can just remove the minor column, but because I'm gonna know who actually is the minor, so I just wrote, minor. Raw streaks count. Yeah, I think that is it. Yeah, let's run this. I actually don't think this is the full query. If I'm not mistaken, the query has, start block and end block. So I guess we can try to write what is the start and the end block. So let's just do that right now. So minor, and then this is our grouping, and then streak is of course the number of consecutive blocks in a row, and then because the grouping, I use the last block, so I can just call it as like end block, and then the start block would then be the start block would just be the end block minus streak plus 1. Why plus 1 is because, let's say the streak is 2 and the end block is this, and so if 67 minus 2 would be 65, right? But then the previous block is just 66, so that's why you need to add 1 as start block. Yeah, I think that's it. That's the final query. And then these are just I was actually testing the final results, whether or not they were correct, right? You should always test your final results. But for example, the highest streak I found was 21 between what block and what block, and so I was testing what is the, I looked at the blocks between those particular ranges and then see if really is 21 streaks. And yeah, there you go. And I think that's it. I will leave the query link in the YouTube video description. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.